In the headlines, Independent National Electoral Commission says no going back on BVAS and electronic transmission of results. Court orders federal government to return Nnamdi Kanu to Kenya, awards him 500 million naira damages. Central Bank of Nigeria introduces new naira notes December 15th. And on the foreign scene, heavy rain leaves Cairo streets flooded, hits many provinces. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Nten Ekbang. And on the news in full. Now, with barely 4 months to the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says there is no going back on the use of the bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) and electronic transmission of results. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said this at the quarterly consultative meeting with leaders of political parties in Abuja. Noel Sampson has more.
INEC and political party leaders was held at INEC's headquarters, Abuja, where the commission reassured all of its readiness for the 2023 general elections and also made known the dates of the off-cycle elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states.
9.5 million new voters have been added to the existing register of 84,004,084 voters. The preliminary register of voters in Nigeria now stands at 93,522,272. The display of the fiscal register will take place at the designated centers from Saturday 12th to Friday 25th November 20 in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. The three elections will now hold on Saturday 11th November 2022.
Conduct by political parties and the supporters was also addressed by the INEC chairman as campaign continues.
Last week, the Commission cautioned political parties, candidates and their supporters to eschew violence during the electioneering campaign. The statement was necessary against the background of clashes among supporters of different political parties, including allegations of denial of access to public facilities and the destruction of billboards and other outdoor campaign materials by act of thuggery. The campaigns have just begun. As party leaders, you should remain committed to peaceful electioneering. The Commission deployed thousands of diligent staff for the severe exercise, and the vast majority of them discharged their duties conscientiously. Unfortunately, a few of them did not.
The Inter-Party Advocacy Council, IPAC, also reaffirmed its confidence in the leadership of INEC and also assured of its citizens towards credible elections in 2023.
We believe that they will not have their way, no matter their desperation, and whatever their pranks and machinations. The use of technology in the conduct of elections in Nigeria has become sacrosanct and fait accompli. Every player in the country's power game must come to terms with the new reality that they can no longer rig elections brazenly and with impunity. Mr. Chairman, sir, you can count on the usual support of IPAC.
Stakeholders at the meeting advised eligible voters to shun vote buying and violence before, during, and after the elections in order to be able to hold the leaders accountable. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The new Nigerian People's Party and its presidential candidate Rabiu Kwankwaso has declared that he's not ready to step down for anybody. A spokesman of the party's presidential campaign council, Ladipo Johnson, made the comment on Channels Television morning program on Wednesday amid speculations that the former Kano State governor will collapse his campaign for another person. Johnson said there were no major talks at any level at the moment with any of the parties or any of the candidates. He accused those who keep saying that Kwankwaso will collapse his structure for other candidates of being mischievous. When asked about his thoughts on the postulations that the election is a three-horse race rather than four, which rules out his party, Johnson blamed it on the press. The NNPP campaign spokesperson also shed some light on why Kwankwaso failed to honor the invitation of the Northern Elders Forum for a recent event that it organized for presidential candidates, saying Kwankwaso believed some of the people involved were supporters of one of the presidential candidates, and he has had his fingers burnt before in 2019 by some of those individuals. A federal high court presided by Justice Evelyn Anya-Dike has ordered the federal government to restore Nnamdi Kanu to his status quo before 19th June 2021. In Wednesday's ruling on fundamental human rights and extraordinary rendition of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, she also ordered the government to pay 500 million naira as damages to him. The court, in his further rulings, issued an injunction restraining the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, from prosecuting Kanu consequent upon his extraordinary rendition. Kanu had in March this year filed a suit through his special counsel Aloy Ejimakor to enforce his fundamental rights stemming from what Ejimakor had termed his extraordinary rendition from Kenya in June last year. In his judgment, the court dismissed the federal government's objections to his jurisdiction and upheld all the reliefs sought by Kanu. The embattled leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, meanwhile, has commenced a fundamental rights action before the Federal High Court in Abuja to demand payment of 100 billion naira as reparation for the gross violation of his rights to liberty and dignity of human persons by the federal government. According to a statement by his legal team led by Michael Zekome, the IPOB leader is also seeking an immediate release from the unlawful facility of the Department of State Services, the DSS. The team said the action was predicated upon the continued grandstanding of the federal government to implement the judgment of the Court of Appeal delivered on the 13th of October 2022, which in effect discharged Nnamdi Kanu. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Wednesday rearranged suspended Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, and 3 others over alleged 109.5 billion naira fraud in an FCT High Court Maitama. Other defendants are Olusegun Akindele, Mohammed Usman, and Gezawa Commodity Market and Exchange Limited. They were first arraigned on July 22 before a vacation judge, Justice Adeyemi Ajayi, on a 13-count charge bordering on misappropriation to the tune of 109.5 billion naira. However, upon the resumption of the court, the case was transferred to Justice Yusuf Halilu. They all pleaded not guilty to the charge preferred against them by the EFCC. Now, following their not guilty plea, counsel for Idris, Chris Uche, SAN, prayed the court to allow the defendants to continue to enjoy the earlier bail granted them by the court on July 28. He submitted that they have been complying with their bail conditions. Counsel for other defendants aligned themselves with Uche's application and submission. Meanwhile, the EFCC counsel Oluwaleke Atolagbe did not object to the application. He, however, left the decision to the court to exercise his discretion. Ruling on the application, Justice Halilu held that bail is a constitutional right of a defendant. He, however, directed that the defendants submit their passports to the court's registrar. The judge added that if the documents are with the prosecution, it should pass same to the registrar. Justice Halilu adjourned the case until November 23 for hearing. The Nigerian Medical Association NMA Nasarawa State Chapter says over 100 doctors working at the Dalhatu Area Specialist Hospital, Federal Medical Center, Kefi, and the State Hospital Management Board have left the state to Saudi Arabia in search for greener pastures. The NMA chairman in the state, Peter Arta, made this known on Tuesday in Lafayette during a press briefing to mark the 2022 Physicians Week. The chairman revealed that about 550 doctors are currently working in the state.
Strongly believe in the fact that a free press is the bastion of democracy and hence the last hope of common man. Let me start by informing you all that NMA had to shelve this year Physician Week National Opening Ceremony and the Razzmatazz as a result of the massive flood affecting Bayelsa and some other states of Nigeria with the attendant loss of human life and property, thereby dampening the mood of the nation.
The Lagos State Deputy Governor Kadri Obafemi Hamzat says the state has started dredging of River Ogun in view of pending flooding. Hamzat said the step is a proactive measure against ravaging floods in the country as 9 rivers discharge into Lagos. The Deputy Governor made a clarification in view of some fake videos of the current state of the lagoon going round which showed high water levels under the Third Mainland Bridge. It would be recalled that the State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources described the trending video of the lagoon on social media as fake, saying it only captured the Oro-Shokin end of the Third Mainland Bridge, which is normal. However, the state government issued warnings to waterfront residents of Ikoyi, Lekki, Victoria Island, and coastal areas of Ekpe and Badagry to be cautious of the high tide.
Videos making round, please ignore it. Lagos in the past 3 years has built 282 new canals. What are those canals supposed to do? To take water to? However, let us understand that climate change is real. We can see what happened in Pakistan. We saw what happened in Florida. We saw what happened in Belgium. We saw what happened around the world. So the Atlantic Ocean is the same Atlantic Ocean that gets to London. So when it snows and it melts, it gets into those, it's coming here 14, 15 days later. So we must prepare ourselves. Don't let us patronize all these cart pushers. When the state says don't, it's not to take business from them. It's to protect all of us. Because they only discharge into our canals. Our canals are not refuse dump. They are to move waters.
A 25-year-old man has been shot dead by an unidentified security agent in Adamawa State. Eyewitness account indicates that the victim was trying to open his shop for the daily business when he was hit by a stray bullet. Salis Lawan reports.
According to eyewitness, some uniformed men suspected to be members of the Nigeria Police Force moved into the market with the intention of arresting some culprits. The situation got out of hand, according to the eyewitness, after the suspected culprit ran away and later decided to attack the officers, a situation that led to sporadic shooting in the market and the death of the victim. Usman Tanko, who is the chairman of the market, gives more insight on the incident that led to the death of his member who hailed from Sokoto State.
I was just called that one of my members was shot to death. It is not a normal day for us. This shop we are standing in front of belongs to him. As a result of what happened that led to the death of the victim, who was hailed from Sokoto State. You know youths, they reacted somehow, which later normalcy restored. Please, we are pleading with the authorities to look into the matter and ensure justice to the innocent soul.
The victim's brother, Umar Usman, calls for justice to his dead brother.
Ya shigo layin da zai shiga layin shagonsa ya je gudu. Irin juya wannan zai sai ya bule ta bayansa. Ana aka dauke shi.
He was shot dead while opening his shop for the day's business. The worrisome aspect is that his younger brother, who was shocked by the death of his elder brother, fainted and was rushed to the hospital. While receiving medical attention in the hospital, some police officers came in and arrested the brother with other caregivers in the hospital. I need nothing but justice for my younger brother.
Police Public Relations Officer Adamawa Command SP Suleiman Guroji confirmed the incident.
The command received report that when our men who are on routine patrols in some criminal hideouts all of a sudden had a fracas, and that resulted to Commissioner of Police directing the Deputy Commissioner of Police to go down and ensure that no breakdown of law and order. So we are equally made to understand that there was a shot that resulted to a death of one, and he was immediately rushed to hospital and was announced dead by medical expert.
Normalcy has since returned to the market after the incident. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
You're still watching News Update on Trust Television. Coming up after the break, how Nigerians are coping with harsh economic conditions. Stay with us for that and more. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Update on Trust Television, a recap of our top stories. Independent National Electoral Commission says no going back on BVAS and electronic transmission of results. And court orders federal government to return Nnamdi Kanu to Kenya, awards him 500 million naira damages. Moving to other stories now, the Oyo State Police Command has paraded 3 teenagers for allegedly gang raping and recording of the process on phone to blackmail the victim. The command also paraded other suspects for alleged kidnapping, job racketeering, armed robbery and diversion of goods, among other crimes. Briefing newsmen at the force headquarters, Eleyele Ibadan, police spokesman for the command, Adewale Osifeso, revealed that the suspects were apprehended following intelligence-driven and community-led policing. Osifeso called on the public to furnish security agencies with reliable information that could lead to the arrest of criminally minded individuals, with a promise to ensure that the citizenry can go about their lawful duties without fear of intimidation and oppression. The police spokesman said items recovered from the suspect include cash, motorcycles, cars, and ammunition.
In a bid to salvage what she sensed was getting out of hand, she innocently asked Peter, Joshua's friend, to prevail on the situation. But rather, Peter advised her to heed to Joshua's demands. At this point, both friends took turns at forcefully and unlawfully having carnal knowledge of their victim, while simultaneously recording footage.
On July 3, she comes to my house. I tell her to come and visit me at home. After that, I tell her that I want to see her in my bedroom. When she comes to my bedroom, I ask for sex. She won't give me, and she don't want to give me. And I call my friend Peter to come to tell him to tell her she give me the sex, but she refused, and I refunded her. That's why.
It was only the transfer that was made to my client that the document he gave to me was cloned. But the transaction has not been faulted because he has been in possession of the land for over 3-4 years. And
Benue residents have continued to react to the attack on Gbechi community by unknown invaders. The state has been under serious attacks in recent times by the yet-to-be-identified invaders threatening the peaceful coexistence of the state and the country at large. Trust TV correspondent reports.
The residents of Benue are worried that the security agencies are not doing enough to stop the killings that have made life unbearable in the state. Those who spoke to Trust TV said almost every day there are reported cases of attacks on farming communities. The latest was the killing of scores of people in Beji, in Logo local government area of the state.
It's also disturbing the way the insecurity is turning out in Nigeria today. Every day people are being killed by unknown gunmen. But my problem is our security architecture in Nigeria. What are they doing? Because those people, they are not spirits. They came from somewhere, carried out the attacks, and go to somewhere.
The service chief, the security chiefs, they are not doing anything. We keep on hearing killing from one place to another, and nothing has been done. The perpetrators have yet to be punished. So to me, I see the government is yet to carry out its mandate. If you observe international communities, you hear about a particular minister resigning as a result of issues that are happening in the country.
Some of the residents said individual communities should form their security architecture to complement the federal government's efforts.
They should come together and set up security outfits in their localities. The federal government cannot be everywhere. We need to, at least in our own part, come together and then set up security outfits in our villages so that we can help or so that we can complement what the federal government is doing. So it is very, very important for us to rise up against this kind of inhuman situation.
Recently, the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom instituted the local community volunteer guard to complement the role of the regular security agencies. But the question is, are these local guards equipped and trained to tackle such security issues in communities?
Now, many Nigerians have expressed displeasure over the current economic situation in the country, which experts attribute to poor economic policies and a high inflation rate. The inflation rate, which has pushed the prices of commodities in the market to an all-time high, has made it difficult for some Nigerians to cope. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal takes a look at the feeding ratio of the average Nigerian family and how they are coping with the economic hardship.
The ugly sight of masses toiling under excruciating economic conditions and the rate at which poverty has eaten deep into the country is not only frightening but also heartbreaking. Many Nigerians, according to observers, cannot afford 3 square meals a day. Statistics available, however, reveal that over 70 million Nigerians are unemployed and thus have taken a toll in household welfare, pushing them into poverty. The story is not different in the Federal Capital Territory, as prices of food items have gone up, making it difficult for an average Nigerian to feed.
If you enter the market right now, something you can buy before, you can buy it like 15 naira. Now they'll be telling you 300, 500 and all that. So it's very difficult for poor people to come and be buying. That is why there is crime rate everywhere. You see people stealing.
More worrisome is that some families that spoke with Trust Television News said they sometimes sent their children street hawking instead of going to school to be able to put something on the table.
No, we are on operation 101 now. Okay, because we have one in the morning, and that one in the morning will come from 11 or 11:30. By 12, you finish it up. Then from 12 till 7:30, you take the last one, and that will take you to the next morning again. When you wake up in the morning after brushing, you go out for a hustle again till 12 o'clock again. So that's why it's operation 101.
Food vendors also said prices of food commodities have gone up beyond the reach of the common man.
The market price is very, very high. The thing that you buy today, tomorrow when you go to the market, the price will change. Look at gari. We buy gari. Last week, I buy 23,000. Now, you can see that the woman that bring gari for me now, he said it's 25,000. One bag of gari. If you buy rice, rice, everybody like rice. If they use pipe, this rice I'm talking about now, in Nigeria, everybody like rice.
For now, things are worse. Before, things are cheap. Like this crayfish, we do buy, like penta, we do buy penta 2,000, 2,500. But now, if you didn't have 5,000, 7,800, you can't buy it.
Experts have attributed various causes of the current inflation rate in the country to import restriction, rising fuel prices, floods, among others. It is hoped that the federal government will come up with policies that can avert the current situation. Until then, life remains difficult for the masses. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, on Wednesday said it will redesign the 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, who disclosed this during a special press briefing in Abuja, said the new design and issues will be effective December 15th, 2022. Now, while advising Nigerians to take all notes to banks for the new notes, Emefiele said the action was taken in order to take control of the currency in circulation. According to him, the bulk of the nation's currency notes was outside bank vaults, noting that the CBN will not allow the situation to continue. Emefiele informed that as of the end of September 2022, available data at the CBN indicated that 2.7 trillion naira out of the 3.3 trillion currency in circulation was outside the vault of commercial banks across the country and supposedly held by members of the public. On the foreign scene, heavy thunder showers and hailstorms hit large parts of Greater Cairo, including the Egyptian capital, as well as several provinces on Tuesday. As a result, streets were flooded and traffic disrupted. The densely populated capital is used to more than 200 days of sunshine a year. The Egyptian Meteorological Agency, EMA, issued a warning of unstable weather conditions nationwide, according to local media. The state media Arham cited the Egyptian Ministry of Irrigation, which said it was ready to deal with the heavy rain. The number of weather, climate, and water-related disasters increased by a factor of 5 over the past 50 years, a recent multi-agency report revealed. And in sports, sadly, Nigeria's Flamingos missed the chance to qualify for a first-ever final at the Under-17 World Cup level after losing on penalties to Colombia in Wednesday's semi-finals in India. With both teams failing to score after 90 minutes of football, the game went into penalties with the Colombians winning 6-5. Omamuzo Edafe, who netted the winner against USA, had the opportunity to replicate the feat again when she stepped up to take the decisive kick to make it 5-4 after the Colombians missed their third kick. It was not to be as the effort came off the foot of the post. The shootout now went into sudden death, and with Colombia ahead 6-5, Comfort Florencio saw her attempt parried away by the opponent's keeper. Flamingos will now meet either Germany or Spain in the third-place playoff billed for Sunday, October 30. And with that story, we've come to the end of News Update this hour on Trust Television. Do connect with us across all major social media platforms. I am Ntendek. Many thanks for watching. Bye-bye.